Hello, dear viewers. Welcome to a new episode. I'm sorry if that was too much, and I'm sorry if I said, my friend, not my dear friend. Sorry. Sometimes, our bodies betray us. Our bodies too? Just like my ex. I mean that they could have a point of view different from our point of view. Like my ex. Stop. My friend. Let me finish the episode. My friend, will you ever drop an album? Why? Your misery is entertaining. One of the stories that show our body's betrayal to us is one of the stories about the death of the Egyptian pharaoh Menes, who is believed by Egyptologists to have died while fighting hippos. However, after 1930, there was a different theory that Menes used to travel on a wide scope. It said that he got stung by a wasp on one of his trips and died right away. Of course, the story is still a source of conflict in hieroglyphs translation. This debate isn't because a hippo attack is more aggressive than a wasp sting. It's true that hippos kill 500 people a year, but wasp and bee stings send 220,000 people to the every year. And before hospitals, who knows how many have died. Bro, can wasps kill us? What I want to tell you is that it's not the wasps. It's your body that kills you, not the wasps. Wasps don't kill, they only buzz and annoy people, but can't kill or betray a friend. Wasp stings usually cause pain, itching, or inflammation, and an hour later, it goes away. A normal person could take up to 1,000 stings. However, the body overreacts sometimes. How, bro? I'll tell you. More than a century ago, we knew that our body is threatened by a lot of things, and a lot of creatures that could very likely give us diseases, such as bacteria, viruses, worms, and poisons. What's common between them is our immune system fights them. An army of cells which releases chemical substances that target all of these threats and kill them. However, we realized by time that our immune system could also cause problems. In the early 20th century, the physiologist Charles Richet experimented on dogs that he injected with poison. He extracted this poison from a marine animal called sea anemone. When some dogs took the poison, they fainted and threw up. Then in a few days, they were okay. After that, Charles waited a week, and then injected them with a smaller dose of poison. Of course their bodies were now used to it, bro, and was able to deal with the poison and everything was fine. Let me tell you, my friend, that these dogs died immediately within minutes. That's when Mr. Richet was introduced to what's known as hypersensitivity, which is when the immune system was exposed to the poison again, it had a more aggressive reaction. And instead of protecting the dogs, it killed them. It's like if you saw a big metal bar, and decided to lift it up off the ground, so you powered up and put in all of your effort. Suddenly, you discover that this bar is made of cork, which means it's light, so all of that power pushes you, and you fall on your back. Here, you gave too much power than what the situation needed. It starts when an allergen touches the surface of the body, like on the skin, eyes, airway, or intestines. These surfaces are full of immune cells that function as guards. When these guards face an allergen, they swallow it and destroy it, and they leave some fragments of it. Then, they pass these fragments to other immune cells. These cells create a criminal record for the allergen. Come here, boy, come here, so, they produce what's called immunoglobulin E, also known as IgE. These antibodies will memorize and always remember the shape of the allergen that caused an allergic reaction, the allergen that was going to cause problems to the body. Now I know and understand it. You'll be quizzed. Now when the body is exposed to it again, a part of the immune system called mast cells is activated, which release a burst chemicals in order to dilate blood vessels and cause inflammation. So, it appears to you as symptoms like itchiness, coughing, runny nose, throwing up, or diarrhea. And also this chemical reaction, which was done by your immune system, could cause low blood pressure, irregular heartbeat, or a swollen airway that stops your breathing, or no symptoms at all, but affects you mentally. Scientists call it asymptomatic sensitization. In her book, The High Blood Pressure Hoax, Dr. Sherry Rogers says that food allergy is one of the least diagnosed causes of symptoms in depression. I want you to imagine that all of this noise is caused by your own digestive system to protect you from something that's not even harmful, like a wasp sting, dirt, pollen, antibiotics, or peanuts. Can you imagine? Some people's bodies go crazy because they ate peanuts. You crazy. I swear immune systems are idiots. I hope it didn't hear that. So what if it does? I have allergies that ruin my nose. Luckily, thank you medicine. Let me tell you that 10% of Americans are allergic to a certain food. Doctors diagnose these allergies by exposing you to a small amount of proteins that exist in that food, then measure the IgE, which is the antibodies I told you about. Scientists found that it's always released with allergies, and it has a very quick reaction. The weird part is that scientists found that this IgE doesn't even fight any viruses or bacteria. However, it fights things like peanuts. Immune system Mr. Human, please forgive me for the 35 viruses that got away, and the 150 bacteria, but careful. I'm very focused and observant. I just caught 125 grams of salted peanuts, and I made his life a living hell. It's like we have antibodies that specialize in annoying us. Dang it, bro, we should just get rid of these immune systems. Well, my friend, I did thought so too. Until the parasitologist Bridget Ogilvy, while studying how our immune systems kick out worms, she found that rats that have worms release a very big amount of the IgE. She discovers that these supposedly bad antibodies attack worms, which our ancestors struggled with. And in the 80s, we found out that these IgE bodies identify the proteins on the surface of a worm, and then does a quick reaction to alert the immune system. Look out, system. Look out, system, there's a worm. So, they said maybe the proteins of these worms has similar molecular structure with other molecules in our lives. There may be similarities. For example, the protein in peanuts. When the IgE sees the proteins on the surface of peanuts, which looks like those of worms, it says, look out. It's a worm. We need to get rid of it in an hour, or else the worm will win the fight. You understand? That was the leading theory that explains allergies. But Dr. Ruslan Medjatov, professor of immunobiology at Yale University, had a different opinion. He said, guys, some people are allergic to penicillin or nickel. Those have a molecular structure that doesn't look like any type of worms. In addition, some scientists did a very strange thing. They engineered some rats to not release any IgE bodies. But, they found that they fight back worms like normal. Also, if we all have the IgE that identifies worms, why then are you allergic to peanuts and I'm not? Why are you allergic to some things and I'm not? Why am I allergic to things and you're not? Also, we sometimes were allergic to things when we were kids, then it's gone when we grow up, or vice versa. You could be fine and okay all your life, then suddenly, your body is affected by certain things. Weird. Then Dr. Ruslan published an article in Nature about an experiment he did, where he injected rats with an allergen from bees. This substance tears up the cell membrane and opens it. Let me tell you that the immune system didn't respond to the allergen itself. It actually responded after the cells were torn open, then it released IgE. After that, he injected the same rats with a larger dose of this poison, and injected new rats. Here, the doctor found that the rats that weren't exposed to the poison before experienced a temperature drop, and could die. But, the rats that were exposed before had an allergic reaction, so, it weakened the poison. Here, he thought that the immune system isn't the one that starts the fight. But when a substance causes a problem, that's when we fight. Just like a security system. It doesn't identify the thief, but it knows there is a robbery when the windows break. Then it remembers his face to catch him next time. Here's a strange fact, my friend. Did you know that when cleanliness rates increase, allergies increase too? What, bro? So the more I stay in a clean place with clean air, the more I'm allergic? Yup. Rich countries have the highest allergy rates. Wow, bro, more cleanliness equals more allergies? Well, why don't I have any allergies then? All jokes aside, my friend, rich countries have the highest allergy rates. And as developing countries improve their standard of living, their allergy rates increase. Allergy rates increased in China from 1999 to 2008 from 5% to 8%. And just like the comedian Chris Rock said, we got so much food in America we're allergic to food. It's like having less germs, my friend, left the immune system without someone to fight with. And he cute little thing loves drama. It's like fathers when they sit at home, and tell you to fix this lamp, and do that thing. They are looking for anything to fix, even if it's not that harmful. That's a hypothesis known as the hygiene hypothesis. It's also believed that back then before civilization, we were surrounded by microbes that played a big part in our immune system and regulating it. They call them the old friends. Dr. Medjatov thought that allergies protected our ancestors, because toxic chemicals were around them everywhere in animals and plants. So maybe there were poisons similar to pollen that was a big threat to us when we were hunters. And when these things gave us allergies, we just left the area completely. He also says there's nothing in common between allergens. Some people are allergic to eggs, some are allergic to latex, some are allergic to gold, some, my friend, are allergic to water. What? Water. That was the shortest episode or one of the shortest episodes to be more clear. It's called water allergy. Not many people saw it. Get it? However, what's in common between all these allergies is what the allergy does, and not its cause, of course. Some cause itchiness or coughing, some cause throwing up and diarrhea, some cause runny nose, sneezing, and teary eyes. If you think about it, you'll see that they all expel something. They throw away something harmful away from your body. Because just like the Roman philosopher Lucretius said, what is food to one man is bitter poison to others. Dr. Medvedov says that in order to form his theory about allergies, he thought about how we perceive the world. And that the light is really just photons, and our eyes receive them and translate them into images. Sound is a bunch of vibrations that our ears collect and turn into language. And every person has different impressions. So, our immune system too and other systems have a way of perceiving the world, and adds meaning to the chemistry on the world. They receive signals then translate. Every person translates these signals in a different way, and it makes life a personal experience for all. And the world is different in each person's eyes. Every person is living a different version than others, even in the clearest and most common of things, like what? Like pain. Like the pain Chris Rock felt when Will Smith slapped him? No, my friend, other pain. In an experiment done on 17 volunteers, the doctor examined their brain as they were connected to a device. This device heats up a certain spot in their feet up to 50 degrees Celsius. Then he asks them to rate the pain they felt from 1 to 10. Here, answers were different. Some said it was 1, some said it was 9. Not because one is cool, and the other is a baby. But the idea is that we are talking about the same stimulus, and we are talking about different perceptions for this stimulus. Dr. Roger Fillingham says that depression lowers your pain tolerance. Meaning, a mental disorder that decreases your pain tolerance. Even just showing a sad picture to people increased their sensitivity towards pain. Pain is affected by psychological, biological, genetic factors. It's also affected by social standards, hormones, mood, and sleep. So, there's no way we can predict how each body will react to pain, unlike blood pressure or temperature. No. Every person describes their feelings towards pain differently. A subjective experience. I love wearing sub-jacket. It goes well with t-shirts. In a case of an allergy, my friend, our body gives an allergic reaction. And an allergic person can clearly describe his problem and medical history. And the reaction he gets is always the same. They try to medically save him. If he's in a restaurant or a place usually in a developed country, they provide an allergy-friendly environment. However, what if there's an allergy not towards a certain thing? Not a peanut or wasp sting allergy, but one that's difficult for the person to explain, and difficult for others to understand. A different form for allergies. An allergy in feelings, the sensitivity. Let me explain to you this allergy in an example we made an episode about, which is the famous Dutch painter Vincent van Gogh, when he went to Paris in 1890. The artist land that he dreams of. However, he very shortly leaves it. Why, bro? Van Gogh was very sensitive, my friend. He was sensitive towards the city noise and its activity. To the point that the best of his works ever were drawn in the country, or a psych ward. Some people have high sensitivity form stimuli that most people find normal. This oversensitivity could make a person different and fragile sometimes. However, it also allows him to connect with the world on another frequency and level. In his article in Time, André Solo, one of the writers of the book, Sensitive, asks when was the last time you bragged about being sensitive. He says that probably never. No one has ever felt that being sensitive is a good thing about him. They always see it as a bad thing. There are many traits we can be proud of, but sensitivity isn't one. To be sensitive is considered a flaw. A weak person that takes everything to heart and overreacts sometimes. And in society's eyes, a man can't be sensitive. They also blame women if they're too sensitive. They accuse her of being so emotional. The message that society delivers to sensitive people is to overcome sensitivity and man up. Solo says that even though it never happened, that a person stops being sensitive, it's wrong. Studies done nearly 30 years ago prove that sensitivity isn't just a human trait proven by experience, but it's also a strong tool. Let me explain. Sensitivity consists of two factors. The first factor is sensory perception, which is things that senses perceive like sound, touch, taste, and smell. The thing is, sensitive people perceive more information than their environment. This sound. What was the tone? How long are the pauses? What was the volume? How was the whisper? What were the hand movements? These words were in what context? In a study done on 16 people, researchers made them answer a survey to check their sensitivity. Then they showed them pictures with details that change. They are asked to notice the changes. And when they had an fMRI, they found that people who scored high sensitivity levels had a noticeably higher brain activity, especially in the parts that deal with the visual cortex. That's another factor of sensitivity, which is cognitive processes. Sensitive people's brains processes information deeper than others. Of course, this processing could be wrong, but it happens more. Also, some studies say that people are three groups. Some have low sensitivity, some have medium sensitivity, and some have high sensitivity. The first group with high sensitivity represent 30% of sensitive people. 0.40% of sensitive people are medium sensitivity. And people with low sensitivity are also 30%. The difference in sensitivity from an individual to another doesn't just exist in humans. Scientists found that there are over 100 types of animals, fish, and birds that have individuals variant in sensitivity. This indicates that sensitivity has a biological base and an important role in adapting to the environment. Some individuals could have low sensitivity, so they'd be courageous, adventurous, and fearless. We see people who don't have very sensitive feelings be adventurous and go to discover the world for us. Other people are too sensitive, so they sit and watch, and feel something going wrong before it happens. Because their deep understanding that we talked about makes them see the world differently. They notice what most people miss. This sometimes leads to them being misunderstood. Because they get upset by things that don't bother most people. Some research says that sensitive kids get upset easily and cry a lot and take time to get over it. They're more scared of strangers and are extra careful with new situations. This appears before childhood. The sensitivity differences can be indicated while we're in the wombs. Research indicate that some fetuses respond more to the mother's physical and psychological state than other fetuses. Oversensitivity is a very much genetic trait, not something we can stop easily. It's also formed according to our upbringing and environment. If I was exposed to a certain trauma, it can make me sensitive towards the environment that made way for this trauma. Research indicates that hard experiences in early childhood contribute in developing increasing sensitivity during teenaging and puberty. Especially with people of higher genetic tendency for sensitivity. That doesn't mean that sensitivity is a disease or a disorder. On the contrary, the deep thinking and feeling can be gifts. Maybe an important one of these gifts, for us as a society, is creativity. The sensitive person really feels everything, so he sees them clearer, so he expresses these feelings on our behalf that would have never had expressed without him. So we go, whoa, that's how I felt. Most artists, poets, musicians, and writers are usually sensitive characters. Creativity isn't restricted to art. The pioneer thinkers, philosophers, and scientists were sensitive people to different things. The sensitive person doesn't have to be only sensitive to feelings, he can be sensitive to certain patterns and certain changes. Like we said, you receive a stimulus and this stimulus gets you to think and contemplate. The sensitive person is filled with strong emotions and gives the time think a problem through. You'll find he has higher probabilities in finding better and faster solutions. Researchers say the less sensitive people are more similar to the chicory flowers. Because it's a strong plant and can grow in any environment. They describe the extremely sensitive people as orchid flowers because it require intense care. But when they find that care and support, they light up in a better way. Because they are affected with something called the boost effect, they are affected with positive support. In a study in 2022, they looked at hundreds of near-divorce couples and gave them a course on how to improve their relationships. Then researchers did some tests on the participants. They found that sensitive people were more likely to use the info they learned to save their marriage. The couples that had at least one sensitive partner showed improvement in their relationship and became happier. The other couples didn't achieve that same results. This wasn't just restricted to relationships. Researchers found that sensitive people are motivated by any form of training and support. As humans, it's in our nature to take in a part of others' emotions. This is because of cells in our brains called mirror neurons. You arrive at a wedding. You get transferred into a mood without saying a word. You arrive to a funeral. A different mood is transferred to you. A joke is heard during a film, so you laugh along with everyone even if you don't like the joke. This is called sensitive people have it more intense. Research found that these people don't have extra mirror neurons. They're not in excess amount, but their mirror neurons are more active, so they're not more than average, but they're very active, especially in the brain parts involved with emotional and social processing, even in the experiments that researchers put them in with strangers. Extreme sensitive people were being sympathetic with people they don't know. Of course, it was more intense with their loved ones. That's why doctors advised them two things. First, prioritize themselves and set boundaries, because their nature has them feel others' feelings just by being around. Their brain takes in a lot of information from their surroundings. You could be heard when you talk, but the extremely sensitive person won't hear you out. He'll listen with your facial expressions, eye movements, your body gestures, tone, and the effect of surroundings on you. He doesn't just take in all this information, no, he takes them and deeply processes them in his brain. Also keep in mind, there's a mix-up between sensitive people and extroverts. Dr. Elaine Aron, that set the definition for this, says that 30% of sensitive people are extroverts, and that the low awareness of this info makes things harder on people with extreme sensitivity. When they are told things like, keep it together, their self-confidence is shaken, and they hate their nature. But upbringing in a supportive environment and aware of their nervous system's hyperactivity and that they have complicated internalized life, these all help them grow and flourish. What I want to say in this episode is that we have different bodies and psychologies. Like Plato said, no two persons are born exactly alike. But each differs from the other in natural endowments. Each individual has distinct personal traits favoring him in certain situations, and can also let him down in certain situations. Sensitivity and allergy in Arabic have one word, al-hassasiyya. But in English, allergies and sensitivity mean two different things. Allergy is a disorder we still don't know its causes and only has medical solutions. No matter how hard you try to convince your body you're safe and that peanuts are safe, your body's nature will win. But the emotional sensitivity can be to your benefit. You don't have to always avoid it like allergy triggers. We can spare its people its troubles if we understood their uniqueness. If you're sensitive, you may have been told you aren't fit for the world, and you wished you were less sensitive to feel like you belong, or for life to be easier and your worry decreases. But no one chooses his nature, my friend. But now it's in your hands, to use your exceptional tools, honor your gift, and accept your flaws, and set healthy boundaries with everyone around you. At the end, this episode isn't a justification to say anything we feel, or react to anything we feel, or a justification to suppress our feelings and be tough because society wants us to be tough. What is it then, bro? Both, my friend. What we're talking about is the balance, which is the awareness that there are different people. Out of all this, my friend, I want you to, in a nutshell, know that there are different ways of dealing with the world. They neither are all wrong nor are all right. That's all. I want to close with the beautiful phrase, balance it better than be sad over it, comfort your mind, and happiness you shall find. Don't forget to watch the old episodes and the new ones, look at the sources, and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Hello my dear viewers. This is when I tell you all that this allergy season is wrapped up. Thank you for watching, and sit tight for the next season. It's soon, inshallah. That's all, my friends. I hope you watch the old episodes and look at their sources, and impatiently wait for the new episodes, and send me messages of, where are you, bro, we miss you. I can say, you too. See you in the next season. Coming at you with new topics and stuff. And I'll probably have a tan on. You know I go wild on vacations.